The transport bay doors hissed open, and Lieutenant Derek Kane stumbled through, blood streaming from a gash above his left eye. Behind him, the hunting party closed in fast. "There!" one of the Valkyrie warriors shouted, their bioluminescent armor flashing in aggressive patterns. Derek didn't look back. He vaulted over a cargo container and slid beneath a maintenance scaffold, his boots scraping against the metal deck. The space station's alarm klaxons wailed overhead, red emergency lights strobing across every surface. He'd known taking this assignment was dangerous. First contact with the Valkyrie Empire had gone smoothly until their Princess Astara announced her selection ceremony. Every species in the sector had sent their best candidates. Derek was just supposed to observe and report back to Earth Command. Then she'd looked at him. "Stop running, human!" The voice echoed through the bay, melodic and urgent. Astara herself pursued him now, her silver hair flowing behind her like liquid mercury. "I have chosen you!" That was the problem. Every eligible male from a dozen star systems had competed for her hand. Warlords, diplomats, champions bred for perfection. She'd rejected them all in front of the entire assembly and pointed at the human observer in the corner. The crowd had erupted. Violence followed instantly. Derek hit the emergency ladder and climbed 3 rungs at a time. His tactical vest caught on a railing and he ripped it free, not caring about the tear. Below, Astara's royal guards spread out to cut off his escape routes. They weren't trying to kill him, just capture him and drag him to the ceremony whether he agreed or not. "I don't even know you," Derek shouted down at her. "That will change." Astara leaped impossibly high, clearing 2 deck levels in a single bound. Her species had evolved on a high-gravity world. Here on the station, she moved like liquid death. Derek burst through a maintenance hatch and sprinted down Corridor 7. His lungs burned. The station's artificial gravity felt twice as heavy after the adrenaline started wearing off. He needed to reach the human embassy section before Astara dropped from a ventilation shaft directly in front of him. Derek skidded to a halt, his hand instinctively going to his empty holster. They'd confiscated his weapon at the ceremony entrance. She stood there, breathing steadily, not even winded, her violet eyes locked onto his. Behind her, the sounds of the hunting party grew closer. "Everyone in the known galaxy wants me," she said softly. "Emperors have offered star systems for my hand. I could have anyone." Derek backed against the wall. "Then why?" "Because I don't want them." She stepped closer. "I want you human." Footsteps thundered in the corridor. "They had seconds." "That's insane," Derek said. "Yes." Astara smiled. "Isn't it wonderful?" The hunting party rounded the corner, weapons raised. Derek made his choice in half a heartbeat. "Fine," he shouted. "But we do this my way." He grabbed Astara's hand and yanked her sideways through a service door. The panel slammed shut behind them just as plasma fire scorched the wall where they'd stood. The hunters roared in fury. "Your way?" Astara asked, allowing herself to be pulled through the narrow maintenance tunnel. "You are running from the greatest honor in the sector." "I'm running from getting vaporized by your fan club," Derek shot back. He kicked open a junction box and ripped out a handful of fiber optic cables. The corridor behind them went dark. "Where I come from, marriage proposals don't usually involve death squads. This is not a proposal. It is a claiming. I have chosen. The universe must accept." Derek stopped at a vertical shaft and looked up. Emergency lighting barely penetrated the gloom. "Does the universe get a vote?" "No." Her tone was matter of fact. "Great. Love the autonomy." He found a maintenance ladder and started climbing. "Who exactly is trying to kill me back there?" Astara followed effortlessly. "Suitor candidates from the Draxan Confederacy, the Yithrak Collective, and possibly 3 independent warlord clans. Also my father's honor guard. But they are only trying to capture you. Only capture." How reassuring. Derek's arms ached, but he kept moving. "What happens when they do?" "Forced ceremonial binding. We would be bonded before the assembled delegates within the hour." "And you're okay with that? I chose you." "The method of completion is irrelevant." Derek pulled himself onto a catwalk and stopped to catch his breath. "It's pretty damn relevant to me. I'm not getting married because someone decided I'm their favorite pet human. Astara's expression darkened. The temperature around them dropped noticeably. Pet? Poor word choice, Derek admitted. But you get my point. You don't even know my name. Derek Kane, Lieutenant Earth Expeditionary Fleet, age 28 standard years. Decorated for valor during the Kepler Station incident. No living family. Transferred to diplomatic observation 3 months ago. She tilted her head. I know everything about you. How? I have been watching you since you arrived. Astara moved closer. You treat others with respect, regardless of their station. You speak honestly. You stood between Ambassador Vrel and the protesters during the trade dispute, even though you had no obligation. Even though you could have died. I was just doing the right thing. Exactly. Her hand touched his chest, right over his heart. Everyone else who pursued me wanted power, wealth, or alliances. You wanted nothing. That is why I want you. An explosion rocked the station. Debris rained down from above. They are cutting through the bulkheads, Astara said calmly. Derek grabbed her hand again. Come on. The human embassy is 2 sections over. They ran together through twisting passages. Derek's knowledge of the station layout proved useful. He led them through cargo bays, around environmental processing plants, and across a suspended bridge over the fusion reactor core. Behind them, the hunters adapted. Cutting tools shrieked through metal. Tracking drones whined past intersections. They will not stop, Astara said. Velkari bonding laws are absolute. Once I have claimed you, only death or acceptance can resolve this. Fantastic options. Derek pulled up short at a sealed blast door. His security badge wouldn't open it. Wrong clearance level. Heavy footsteps approached from 3 directions. We are trapped, Astara observed. She didn't sound concerned. Derek looked at her. Really looked at her for the first time since this madness started. She stood ready for battle. Graceful and lethal, violet eyes blazing with absolute certainty. She'd upended galactic politics and started an interstellar incident just to choose him. You really want this? He asked. Yes. Even though I'm just a human? No special powers, no empire, nothing to offer? You offer yourself. That is everything. The hunters appeared at both ends of the corridor. Draxan shock troopers in crimson armor. Ythrak assassins with phase blades. Velkari guards with stun nets. Derek made his second choice of the day. All right, he said. I accept. Astara's smile could have lit the entire station. She raised her hand and the temperature plummeted. Frost crystallized across every surface. The hunters slowed, their movements suddenly sluggish. What are you doing? Derek asked. Protecting what is mine. Ice spread from her fingertips, encasing their attackers in crystalline prisons. Did I mention my species evolved on a frozen world? You left that part out. She touched the blast door and it shattered like glass. Beyond it lay the human embassy entrance. Come, my chosen. We have a ceremony to plan. Properly this time. Derek followed her through, stepping over frozen warriors and wondering what exactly he'd just agreed to. The human embassy's security team nearly shot them both before Derek flashed his credentials. Ambassador Holland stood in the command center, her face rigid with diplomatic fury. Lieutenant Kane, what in God's name have you done? She demanded. He accepted my claim, Astara announced before Derek could speak. She strode into the room like she owned it, ice still crackling around her fingertips. We seek sanctuary under human law until proper bonding rights can be arranged. Holland's eye twitched. Your Highness, with all due respect, you've just created a galactic crisis. 6 delegations are demanding we surrender Lieutenant Kane immediately. They have no authority over my chosen mate, Astara said flatly. Mate? Holland looked at Derek. Lieutenant? Derek held up his hands. It happened fast, ma'am. Fast? Holland pulled up a holographic display. In the last 42 minutes, you've triggered 3 security alerts, caused 17,000 credits in station damage, and somehow convinced a Velkari princess to abandon centuries of tradition. The Draxan ambassador is threatening war. The Draxan ambassador is a bloated coward who cannot accept rejection, Astara said. She examined the embassy's interior with apparent interest. These walls are thin, inadequate for defense. We're not being invaded, Holland snapped. Then she paused. We're not being invaded, are we? Not if you grant us sanctuary, Derek said quickly. Look, I know this is complicated. Complicated? Holland laughed without humor. The Valkyrie Empire controls 40% of known space. Their princess just chose a random human lieutenant over galactic royalty. This isn't complicated, Kane. This is a diplomatic apocalypse. The embassy shuddered. Something massive had just landed on the hull outside. That would be my father's flagship, Astara said calmly. He is likely displeased. Likely? Derek moved to the window. A Valkyrie dreadnought hung in space beyond the station, its weapons arrays glowing with barely restrained power. Smaller warships from a dozen other species surrounded it. This looks pretty definitively displeased. Holland's comm panel exploded with incoming transmissions. She ignored them all and focused on Astara. Your Highness, why? Of all the candidates, why him? Because he ran, Astara said simply. The room fell silent. Everyone else pursued me like a prize to be won, she continued. They saw advantage, opportunity, conquest. Derek saw a stranger making demands and he fled. He valued his own freedom over my power. She looked at him. That is rarer than you know. So you chased him, Holland asked. I am Valkyrie. We pursue what we desire. An explosion rocked the station's outer hull. Alarms blared across every channel. That was a warning shot from the Draxon fleet, Holland's security chief reported. They're demanding Kane's immediate surrender. Tell them to form an orderly line and wait their turn, Derek muttered. Not helping, Lieutenant, Holland said. She opened a comm channel. This is Ambassador Holland of Earth. All vessels stand down immediately. The human embassy is neutral territory under Galactic Compact law. Any act of aggression will be considered an act of war against Earth. Bold words for a species barely a century into space travel. A reptilian voice hissed through the speakers. Surrender the human and the princess. This does not concern you. It concerns us when you're shooting at our station, Holland shot back. Derek watched the tactical display. More ships were arriving every minute. This was escalating beyond anyone's control. There is a solution, Astara said quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. Complete the bonding here, now. Once I am officially bound to Derek, the other suitors lose all claim. Galactic law is absolute on this matter. And your father? Holland asked. He will be angry, but he will accept it. Valkyrie bonds are sacred. I don't know the first thing about Valkyrie bonding ceremonies, Derek said. Astara took his hand. It is simple. We speak our truths before witnesses, exchange life essence, and seal the bond with fire or ice. She paused. The intimate aspects can wait until we are not surrounded by warships. How romantic, Derek said dryly. Another impact shook the station. The lights flickered. They are losing patience, Astara warned. We must decide now. Holland looked between them, her expression calculating. If we do this, Earth becomes permanently entangled with Valkyrie politics. The other species will see this as us choosing sides. You already chose sides when you sheltered us, Astara pointed out. She's right, Derek added. We're past the point of staying neutral. Holland closed her eyes briefly, the weight of potential interstellar war visible on her face. Then she straightened. Fine, we do this properly. Security, seal the embassy. Communications, broadcast to all vessels that a formal bonding ceremony is about to commence under human observation. If anyone interferes, they violate the Galactic Compact. You are a wise leader, Astara said approvingly. I'm an insane leader, Holland corrected, but I'd rather deal with angry diplomats than dead humans. She looked at Derek. You sure about this, Lieutenant? Derek thought about running. About the quiet life he'd expected when he took this posting. About never having to decide the fate of billions. Then he looked at Astara, who'd thrown away everything just to choose freely. Yeah, he said. I'm sure. Then let's make history, Holland said. Someone find me whatever counts as a wedding officiant in this mess. Outside, the fleet held position, weapons hot, waiting to see if the universe was about to change forever. The embassy's central chamber had been cleared in minutes. Holland stood at the front, a hastily downloaded Velkari ceremony protocol displayed on her tablet. Bah! Derek adjusted his torn uniform while Astara remained perfectly composed despite the chaos surrounding them. This is unprecedented, Holland muttered, scrolling through the text. Half of this involves biological exchanges I'm not qualified to supervise. I will guide the process, Astara assured her. You need only bear witness and confirm legitimacy. Through the reinforced windows, the assembled fleet grew larger. Ships from 18 different species now surrounded the station, their weapon systems creating a web of potential destruction. One trigger-happy captain could end everything. Broadcasting ceremony commencement. The communications officer announced, all channels open. Estimated viewership across the sector, 4 billion, and climbing. 4 billion? Derek's stomach dropped. People are watching this? You are bonding with the most sought-after individual in known space, Astara said. Of course they are watching. Holland cleared her throat. Let's begin before someone decides to blow us all to atoms. Your Highness, the floor is yours. Astara stepped forward, her silver hair seeming to glow in the chamber's light. She spoke clearly, her voice carrying to every corner of the room and beyond through the broadcast. I am Astara, Crown Princess of the Velkari Empire, daughter of Emperor Malthius, heir to the Frozen Throne. I stand before witnesses to declare my choice. She turned to Derek. I claim Derek Kane, human of Earth, as my bonded mate. I reject all other suitors. I abandon all prior obligations. This choice is made freely, without coercion, and is irrevocable under Velkari law. The comm channels erupted with outrage. Holland muted them. Lieutenant Kane, she prompted. Your response? Derek stepped forward, aware of billions of eyes on him. His mouth went dry. I'm Derek Kane, Lieutenant in the Earth Expeditionary Fleet. I'm not royalty. I don't have an empire. I'm just a guy who thought he was observing a ceremony, not becoming part of one. Astara's expression softened. But, Derek continued, finding his footing, I've learned something about the Velkari today. They don't do anything halfway. When they choose, they commit completely. Astara could have had anyone, and she chose freedom. She chose honesty. She chose me, even though I bring nothing but myself to this bond. He met her eyes. So yeah, I accept. Freely, completely, no regrets. The temperature in the room dropped. Frost formed on the windows. Astara raised her hand, and a shard of pure ice materialized in her palm, glowing with inner light. The exchange of essence, she explained. I offer you part of my core, my power, my life force. It will sustain you, protect you, mark you as mine. She pressed the ice against Derek's chest. It should have burned with cold. Instead, warmth spread through him, energizing every cell. His breath came out as visible mist. Now, you, Astara said softly. I don't have ice powers, Derek pointed out. You have blood. Life. That is enough. Holland produced a ceremonial blade from somewhere. Derek took it, made a small cut on his palm, and let a few drops of blood fall into Astara's waiting hand. She closed her fingers around it, and frost bloomed between them, mixing red and white into crystalline patterns. Blood and ice. Fire and life. Now and forever, she intoned. Then she consumed the frozen mixture. The effect was immediate. Her violet eyes flashed brilliant blue. Warmth radiated from her in waves, melting the frost coating the walls. She gasped, staggering slightly. Are you okay? Derek caught her elbow. Your species burns so hot inside, she whispered, wonder in her voice. I can feel your determination, your defiance, your absolute refusal to surrender. This is what humanity is? Pretty much, Derek admitted. Astara straightened, power crackling around her. Then I chose even better than I knew. Is it done? Holland asked. Is the bond complete? One final step, Astara said. She cupped Derek's face in her hands. The seal. It can be fire or ice. I choose both. She kissed him. Derek felt heat and cold simultaneously. Power and gentleness, alien and familiar, all mixed together. Energy surged between them, visible as dancing flames and crystalline fractals that spiraled outward from their joined forms. The embassy's sensors went haywire. Every screen showed the same image. Two figures wrapped in impossible elements, defying physics and logic, and centuries of tradition. When they finally separated, Astara's skin carried a faint warmth it hadn't before. Derek's eyes held flecks of ice blue in the brown. "It is done," Astara announced to the watching billions. "I am bonded. The selection is complete. All claims are void." The comm channels exploded. "Outrage from the Draxan Confederacy," the communications officer reported. "The Ythrak Collective is demanding we invalidate the ceremony. 3 warlord clans are threatening independent action." "And the Valkyrie flagship?" Holland asked carefully. "Powering down weapons," came the response. "Emperor Malthius is requesting direct communication with his daughter." Astara took the offered comm unit. "Father." The voice that responded shook the speakers with barely contained fury. "You have shamed our bloodline before the entire sector." "I have chosen freely, as is my right under our oldest laws," Astara replied calmly. "Do you deny me this?" A long silence followed. "The human had better be worthy," Emperor Malthius finally growled. "He is. Then bring him to me. I would meet the creature who has stolen my daughter and destroyed 2 years of careful alliance building." Derek leaned close to the comm. "Looking forward to it, sir?" Astara smiled. Holland looked like she needed a drink. Outside, half the fleet was withdrawing. The other half was holding position, clearly debating their next move. "We should go," Astara said, "before someone decides to be foolish." "Going to meet your father?" Derek asked. "The emperor of the most powerful civilization in known space?" "Sure. What could go wrong?" "Everything," Astara said cheerfully. "But you are mine now." The shuttle ride to the Valkyrie flagship was tense. Derek sat strapped into a seat designed for beings half a meter taller than him, while Astara remained perfectly still beside him, her hand resting on his. "Your father is going to kill me, isn't he?" Derek asked. "Possibly," Astara said, "but probably not. You are bonded to his heir now. Killing you would damage me, and he loves me too much for that. Probably not." "That's reassuring." The shuttle passed through the Dreadnought's atmospheric shield and into a hangar bay large enough to hold a small city. Valkyrie warriors lined every walkway, their armor gleaming like fresh snow, their weapons humming with lethal potential. "Welcoming committee," Derek observed. "Honor guard," Astara corrected. "They are here to show respect, not hostility. They look hostile. That is just their faces." The shuttle doors opened and freezing air rushed in. Derek's breath crystallized instantly. The temperature had to be 30 degrees below zero. "Is it always this cold?" he asked through chattering teeth. Astara frowned. "This is warm by our standards." She touched his chest where the ice shard had merged earlier. "The bond should protect you. Can you not feel it?" Derek concentrated. The warmth from the bonding ceremony still lingered in his core. He focused on it, drawing it outward. The shivering stopped. "That's going to take practice." "You are adapting already," Astara said with approval. "Humans are remarkably resilient. They walk through corridors of ice and metal, past chambers filled with Valkyrie going about their duties. Every single one stopped to stare as they passed." Derek heard whispers in a language he didn't understand. "What are they saying?" he asked quietly. "That I have chosen a weak creature from a primitive world," Astara replied without concern. "That you will not survive a week in our environment. That I have doomed our bloodline." "Great. No pressure. Ignore them. They said the same about my mother when she bonded with my father. She was from a lesser clan, considered unworthy. She proved them all wrong." They reached a massive set of doors carved with battle scenes and frozen landscapes. The guards crossed their weapons, blocking entry. "The Emperor summons only Princess Astara," one said. "My bonded comes with me," Astara replied coldly. "We are one now." Separating us violates sacred law. The guards exchanged uncertain glances. Finally, they stepped aside. The throne room beyond was vast and terrible in its beauty. Pillars of solid ice rose to a ceiling lost in shadows. The floor was polished obsidian that reflected everything like dark water. At the far end, sitting on a throne of compressed frozen methane, was Emperor Malthius. He was enormous, 3 meters tall at least, with silver hair cascading down his shoulders and eyes like frozen stars. Frost radiated from him in waves. The temperature dropped another 10 degrees just from his presence. "Boom, sir." His voice boomed across the chamber. "This is the human who has captured my daughter's interest." Derek felt the weight of that gaze. Every instinct screamed at him to run. Instead, he stepped forward and bowed, not in submission, but in respect. "Your Majesty, I'm honored to meet you." "Honored?" Malthius leaned forward. "You have disrupted carefully negotiated alliances, embarrassed powerful families, and claimed the most valuable individual in my empire. You should be terrified." "I am terrified, but I'm also bonded to your daughter now. That makes us family, doesn't it?" The throne room went absolutely silent. Several courtiers gasped. Astara's hand tightened on Derek's. Then Emperor Malthius laughed. It was like an avalanche, massive and unstoppable. Ice crystals fell from the ceiling. "Family," he repeated. "You claim kinship after knowing her for less than one rotation of your pathetic planet." "Your daughter claimed me after watching me for a few weeks," Derek countered. "Seems like quick decisions run in the family." The laughter stopped. Malthius stood, and his presence filled the room like a physical force. He descended from his throne, each step echoing like thunder. Derek held his ground. The bonded warmth in his chest blazed brighter, responding to his determination. Malthius stopped directly in front of him, towering over the human. "Do you know what the Velkari value above all else, Lieutenant Kane?" "Strength," Derek guessed. "Commitment," Malthius corrected. "We do not waver. We do not compromise. When we choose a path, we walk it to the end, no matter the cost." He glanced at Astara. "My daughter has chosen you. That path is set. The question is whether you are strong enough to walk it with her." "I accepted the bond," Derek said. "I don't go back on my word. Words are easy. Let me show you what you have truly committed to." Malthius raised his hand, and the temperature plummeted. Ice erupted from the floor, climbing Derek's legs, freezing his feet in place. The cold burned worse than fire. Derek gritted his teeth, refusing to cry out. "Father, stop!" Astara moved to intervene. "No," Derek gasped. "I've got this." He reached for the bonded warmth again, but differently this time. Not just to protect himself, but to understand it, Astara's essence mixed with his own, showing him how Velkari survived their frozen world, how they embraced the cold rather than fought it. Derek stopped resisting. He let the ice come, let it cover him completely. Then he pushed back with the heat of human stubborn determination, the fire that had driven humanity from caves to the stars. The ice shattered. Derek stood free, steam rising from his body, his eyes blazing with blue-white fire. Around him, melted ice pooled on the obsidian floor. Malthius stared. Then he smiled, showing teeth like icicles. "Perhaps there is hope for you after all, human." Emperor Malthius circled Derek like a predator evaluating prey. The assembled courtiers watched in absolute silence, waiting for their ruler's judgment. "You broke my ice," Malthius said. "Most Velkari warriors cannot do that." "I had motivation," Derek replied, still catching his breath. "Freezing to death tends to focus the mind." "He carries my essence now," Astara added. "The bond strengthens him." "The bond?" Malthius repeated. He returned to his throne and sat heavily. "Do you understand what you have done, daughter? The Draxan Confederacy offered military alliance. The Yithrak Collective promised trade monopolies. The warlord clans would have brought entire systems under our control. You rejected all of it for this human?" "Yes," Astara said simply. "Why?" "Because they offered you things, father, not me. They saw a transaction, not a person." She moved to stand beside Derek. Derek saw me, making an unreasonable demand, and he ran. He valued his freedom over my power. That honesty is worth more than 1,000 systems. Malthus studied them both. And you, Lieutenant Kane, what do you see when you look at my daughter? Derek considered the question carefully. I see someone who's been treated like a prize her whole life. Someone who's tired of being wanted for everything except who she actually is. Someone willing to risk everything just to make one choice that's truly hers. I see someone a lot like humanity, actually. Explain. Every species in the galaxy looked at Earth and saw primitives, resources to exploit, territory to claim. Nobody saw us as equals or partners, just opportunities. Derek met the Emperor's frozen gaze. Astara chose me because I didn't want anything from her. I choose her for the same reason. She doesn't want anything from Earth except to be seen as herself. Malthus was quiet for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. You are not wrong about how others perceive you, human. Your species is young, aggressive, and dangerously unpredictable. Many in this court believe you will destroy yourselves within a century. Maybe, Derek admitted, but we'll do it on our own terms. That attitude, Malthus pointed at him, is exactly why you terrify the older species. You refuse to accept your place in the established order. He stood again. It is also why I do not entirely disapprove of this bonding. The courtiers erupted in shocked whispers. Father? Astara sounded surprised. The Valkyrie Empire has grown complacent, Malthus declared. We rely on tradition, on established power, on the predictability of known alliances, but the universe changes whether we acknowledge it or not. Perhaps it is time we changed with it. He descended from the throne again, this time moving to a side chamber. Come, both of you. They followed him into a smaller room filled with holographic displays. Star maps covered every surface, showing territories, trade routes, political boundaries. This is the current state of the sector, Malthus explained. Stable, peaceful, stagnant. He manipulated the controls and the map shifted. This is what I see coming. The Draxan Confederacy grows bold. They push boundaries, test defenses. The Ythrak Collective hoards resources. Tensions rise. Within 5 years, there will be war. You were building alliances through the bonding ceremony, Derek realized, trying to position the Valkyrie Empire advantageously. Exactly. But those alliances would have been fragile, built on temporary convenience rather than genuine unity. Malthus looked at Astara. Your choice has destroyed those plans. It has also created something potentially more valuable. Earth, Derek said. Humanity, Malthus corrected. Your species has no ancient grudges with the major powers. You are unknown, unpredictable, and now bonded directly to the Valkyrie throne. The other species will not know how to respond to that. You're weaponizing our unpredictability, Derek said. I am acknowledging reality. My daughter has tied our bloodline to yours. That makes Earth's survival a Valkyrie priority. It also makes humanity's enemies our enemies. He smiled coldly. Many species will reconsider their attitudes toward your homeworld now. This is politics, Astara said with distaste. I chose Derek for personal reasons, not strategic ones. I know. That is what makes it perfect. Malthus turned to Derek. But you should understand what your acceptance means. You are no longer just a human. You are bonded to the Valkyrie Crown Princess. Our enemies will target you. Our rivals will test you. Every species in the sector will watch your every move, looking for weakness. Already happening, Derek pointed out. 4 billion people watched our bonding ceremony. That was the beginning. The real pressure comes now. Malthus pulled up another display showing communication traffic from dozens of worlds. In the last hour, I've received 17 formal protests, 6 demands for your execution, and 3 offers to purchase you from Astara. Purchase. Derek's jaw clenched. Declined with extreme prejudice, Malthus assured him. You are family now. Insulting. You insults the entire Valkyrie Empire. An alert chimed. One of the courtiers entered quickly, bowing low. Your Majesty, Urgent news. The Draxan Confederacy has issued a formal challenge. They claim the bonding was invalid due to improper ceremony protocols. They demand Astara re-enter selection or face dishonor charges. Malthius's expression darkened. The temperature in the room dropped instantly. Dishonor charges, he repeated softly. They dare. What does that mean? Derek asked. Astara's face had gone pale. It means they are calling me a liar, claiming I falsified the bonding to avoid my obligations. If the charges are not answered, I could be stripped of my titles and exiled. There is only one way to answer such a charge, Malthius said. Trial by combat, the accuser must face the accused, or their champion in ritual battle. Victory proves truth. Derek felt ice forming in his stomach. Let me guess. The Draxan champion is the warlord who wanted to bond with Astara? General Krydax, the courtier confirmed. Undefeated in 473 duels, he has already entered the combat circle and declared his intent. I will face him, Astara said immediately. No, Derek and Malthius said simultaneously. They looked at each other in surprise. You are newly bonded, Malthius told his daughter. The ritual requires 3 days of integration before you can safely use your full power. Fighting now would risk permanent damage. Then, I fight. Everyone stared at him. You would die in seconds, Malthius stated flatly. Maybe, but I'm her champion now, aren't I? That's what being bonded means. Derek looked at Astara. You chose me. Now let me choose to stand for you. Derek, no, Astara whispered. Krydax will kill you. Probably, Derek agreed. But if I don't fight, they win anyway. They get to claim our bond was fake, that I'm too weak to be your mate, that humanity doesn't deserve a place at the table. He turned to Malthius. Your Majesty, I request the right to defend my bond as Astara's chosen champion. Malthius studied him for a long moment. Then, incredibly, he nodded. Granted. The trial will commence in 1 hour. He looked at Derek with something that might have been respect. Try not to die too quickly, human. It would disappoint my daughter. The combat arena was a sphere of reinforced ice suspended in the center of the flagship's main atrium. Thousands of Velkari filled the observation galleries, their presence turning the air frigid. Beyond them, holographic projections carried the event across the sector. Billions watched again, waiting to see the human die. Derek stood in the preparation chamber, staring at the armor they'd given him. It was Velkari design, adapted hastily for his smaller frame. Silver and blue, etched with frost patterns, impossibly light yet stronger than anything Earth had produced. You can still withdraw, Astara said quietly. She hadn't left his side since he'd accepted the challenge. I could fight in your place, risk the damage. Not happening. Derek sealed the last piece of armor into place. Besides, I've got a secret weapon. What weapon? Humans are really good at not dying when we're supposed to. He turned to face her. We've survived ice ages, plagues, world wars, and our own stupidity. One oversized lizard doesn't scare me. Krydax is 3 meters tall and has chitin armor that can withstand plasma fire, Astara said. His claws can shred steel. His tail can break bones from 5 meters away. See? Not even 4 meters. Practically harmless. Despite everything, Astara smiled. Then she pulled him close, pressing her forehead to his. I should never have chosen you. This is my fault. Best mistake you ever made, Derek said, and it's about to get better. The arena doors opened. The roar of the crowd was deafening. Derek walked into the sphere, his boots finding purchase on the icy surface. Across from him, General Krydax waited. The Draxan warrior was exactly as terrifying as advertised. Massive, armored in natural scales that gleamed like rubies, with claws like curved daggers, and eyes that burned with contempt. Emperor Malthius's voice boomed across the arena. This is trial by combat. The human Derek Kane stands as champion for Princess Astara. General Krydax challenges the validity of their bond. Combat continues until surrender, incapacitation, or death. The victor's truth becomes law. Any last words, little human? Krydax's voice rumbled like grinding stone. Yeah, Derek said. You really should have taken the rejection better, Krydax roared and charged. Derek dove sideways as claws raked the space where he'd stood. The Daxon was fast, impossibly fast for something so large. Derek rolled, came up running, trying to create distance. A tail whip caught him in the ribs. He flew backward, slamming into the arena wall. Pain exploded through his chest, definitely broken bones. The crowd cheered. They wanted blood. Derek struggled to his feet, tasting copper. Krydax stalked toward him, taking his time now. Pathetic, the general sneered. This is what the princess chose? You are not even worth killing. Derek spat blood. Then why are you wasting time talking? Krydax lunged again. This time Derek was ready. He ducked under the claws and drove his fist into the Draxon's midsection. It was like punching a tank. His hand screamed in protest, but Krydax stumbled, just slightly. Derek understood then. The Draxon had armor, strength, and experience, but Derek had trained in Earth gravity, stronger than most species experienced. His muscles were denser, his strikes harder than Krydax expected. It wasn't much, but it was something. He pressed the advantage, moving constantly, striking where armor plates met, targeting joints and gaps. Each hit cost him Krydax's counterattacks brutal and precise. Derek felt ribs crack, saw his own blood freezing on the ice. But he didn't go down. Stay down, Krydax bellowed, frustrated now. Accept your weakness. That's not really our thing, Derek gasped. He reached for the bonded warmth in his chest, the ice and fire mixed together. Astara's power and his own determination merged. His hands erupted in blue-white flame. The crowd gasped. Even Krydax hesitated. Derek didn't know what he was doing. He just let instinct guide him, letting the bond show him how Valkyrie fought, how they channeled cold as a weapon. He adapted it, mixed it with human heat, created something neither species had seen before. When Krydax charged again, Derek met him head-on. They collided in the center of the arena, ice and fire exploding outward. Derek's burning hands caught Krydax's claws, holding them back through sheer desperate strength. The Daxon pushed harder, his superior mass beginning to overwhelm. You cannot win, Krydax snarled. You are just a human. Yeah, Derek agreed. His legs trembled, his broken ribs screaming. Just a human. Then he headbutted the Draxon directly in the snout. Krydax staggered back, stunned. Derek didn't give him time to recover. He unleashed everything, the bond's power flowing through him, his human refusal to quit driving every motion. He struck again and again, each blow carrying fire and ice together, burning and freezing simultaneously. Krydax tried to defend, but Derek was beyond reason now, beyond pain. He was pure determination made flesh. The final strike caught Krydax in the throat. The general collapsed, gasping, unable to continue. Derek stood over him, barely conscious himself, blood and frost covering his armor. Yield, he said quietly. Krydax looked up at him with something like respect. I yield. The arena exploded in chaos. Half the crowd cheered, half protested, but the law was absolute. Derek had won. Malthius declared the verdict. The bond is valid. The challenge is answered. Let it be known across all worlds, humanity has proven its worth. Derek collapsed. Astara caught him before he hit the ice, cradling him against her. You magnificent idiot, she whispered. You could have died. But I didn't, Derek said through broken teeth. Told you. Humans are good at that. I chose well, Astara said, and kissed him as the sector watched. Later, in the medical bay, Derek woke to find Ambassador Holland standing beside his bed. You just changed everything, she said. Earth status, humanity's position in galactic politics, everything. Good, Derek mumbled. We were tired of being ignored. You married into the most powerful family in known space to make a point? No. Derek looked at Astara, who sat beside him holding his hand. I married her because she chose to be free. The rest is just bonus. Holland shook her head, smiling. Humanity, Damn yeah, that's the spirit, Derek agreed and let himself sleep, bonded, battered, and absolutely certain he'd made the right choice. Everyone had wanted her, but she'd wanted him, and together, they'd shown the galaxy that sometimes the